Hi, welcome. Today's question is, what is my life like when it is in balance? I'd really love to know the answer to this question myself because I'm not sure I've had a life in balance for quite a long time. Balance is about giving and receiving. It's about balancing out our male and female energy. It's about rest versus activity. And we do live, and I experience living in a world where it has been very action orientated for a very long time. Truth be told, the pandemic, how awful it is, and the stress that is caused for everybody was a calling card for me that I quite welcomed because I needed to hit the pause button. I needed a major just stop lesson myself because I felt totally out of kilter, particularly as a woman, to being shown to being active all the time, to looking cool and refreshed and calm, when actually I just felt my whole world had been, over a period of time, kind of turned on its head. And what I mean by that is that I had gone to university, decided to go back to study. I was also doing some other training, which was very more intensive, which for myself, in terms of clearing up emotional things that had happened in my early life that hadn't been addressed properly. And I was running a business because that seemed to be the road open to me. And I know at one point I was like 7 days a week. It was just constant. I mean, the last couple of weeks, my neighbour just asked me this morning about what it's like with not having my masters to worry about, which actually is, in truth being told, I still have lots of projects that I'm doing, but it has kind of taken a huge weight. I'm not doing so much. I'm actually taking a step back and reflecting more on what I've received from that project. So when we're saying life is in balance, it's about, are we balancing out when we're doing something to actually wanting to receive? And there's other ways of looking at this. So look at it from the individual level in terms of, what are you giving to others, and what kind of service, whether in your business, or what are you giving in your relationships, or where are you putting effort in. Even energetically wise, you don't necessarily have to be in the same room as somebody where you're contributing or wanting to contribute from a very creative, fertile, open heart space. And are you receiving that back? And if you're not receiving the reciprocity, then you may feel that you're suppressing. A good figure for that is what you feel you should be doing. I should be doing this is always a good question. When you feel you should be doing something, and then kind of questioning, is there reciprocity in that I'm actually going to be receiving in a way that is going to improve my well-being, or am I going to create a situation where I realize that this is not in the best interest of my well-being? This really comes evident around our friendships, our family, our relationships, particularly where I was listening to a video this morning, and I've had this come up for myself, where we feel we should be doing things because that's the societal norm. The societal norm is that you have to think about what you're doing for others and not necessarily what you're doing for yourself. But that kind of creates a downward depression, particularly if you're not being met emotionally, for example, or you're giving all the time and you're not receiving the love, the care and the support, or the kind words that you need, or when you're asking for that, you're getting defense, or when you are screaming for it, which can happen as well if we suppress our feelings and we kind of keep going along that everything's cool, and then eventually it's just not cool, and it's not being met. And there are skills that we have that are learnt. When I say we, I say I had to learn them, because I had recognized that not all the time had I received the skills that made me feel grounded and confident. I hadn't always received the skills or the messages from an individual, a family, or a societal level that it was okay to be my own advocate. It was okay to believe in myself, and it was okay to say no. And I had that question come up recently in in a conversation I was having, somebody, they actually asked me, have you learned to say no? And one thing about running a business or running an entrepreneurial venture or looking after family is eventually is learning to say no, to look after oneself first, because we always hear it when we get on planes, you put your oxygen mask on you before somebody else or before the child. But if you haven't learned that, if you've learned to put it on yourself first and not look after somebody else, or if you've learned to put it on somebody else first before looking after yourself, it has to change at some point. The reciprocity has to change, because if I'm not giving to myself, if I'm not giving myself the reciprocity between giving and taking, then how would I expect that to be mirrored in my everyday world? So that was, for me, was a real learning curve over the last 8 years, to start to say no and to start to recognize where I was giving and what I was receiving, and learning the lesson about, you know, sometimes it's good to receive and that relationship is in balance, then that relationship needs to move on. We are here to evolve, and some relationships are in our vicinity for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. So my invitation for you today is to look at your balance. Where are you giving and where are you receiving? And where would you like to give more and where would you like to receive more? And particularly looking at it from a mental, a physical, a spiritual, an emotional, in your relationships, within what you want to see in your environment. Tap into what it is that needs to be brought into balance. And a good indicators of where you are out of kilter, out of balance, are when you start to feel very, very tired. You start, as I've mentioned, use the word should. These are all examples of where we can hold ourselves back and not be in alignment. It's a new moon this week. We had a super moon at the end of May. We are now in the June moon, and this is all about communication. This is also the mid of this year 5, which is all about bringing into awareness those things that do not serve us, where we are in denial about ourselves or about what we want to achieve within our lives. So this is a really good week to sit down and write it down, and mainly start what I've been saying to some clients: write down what you don't want, because when you know what you don't want, then you can recognize what you do want. And do that practice as part of your Just Stop lesson today, tomorrow and Thursday, and so that you can then burn them all in some kind of ritual, so you can release all of that no longer serves you. So you can start to find your position about where you are within your balance. Are you on an even keel? And then you can start to look at what you want to create more of over the next coming month, because we are meant to be in flow, and flow is about evolving. So that's where I'm going to leave it today. Remember, the first person one leads is oneself, mind, body and spirit. Have a beautiful day wherever you are. The sun is shining here. If you've liked this video, please like, please share, please join her leadership group if you're a woman in business or a creative woman who is looking for community. I'm just going to give you a heads up. From next week, I'm not going to be doing the live videos, but the videos will be appearing still on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm just figuring out the system at the moment, so if I still pop up live next week, forgive me, but I am looking to transition these to being videos that are going out. Check out our website. We've put up the free masterclass that you can download and get involved in the activity workbook. And till next time, have a pleasant day, and I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.